My name is Vinith. I am a development researcher, which is slightly left of field compared to a lot of people who are here, a lot of technologists, a lot of people working in engineering, on the tech side of things. My interest is largely in the area of financial inclusion. And in my past work, I've looked at a lot of outcomes research where I've spoken to people from different communities, tried to understand the impact of, say, different types of interventions. So, be it in public health, be it in financial inclusion, like the opening of bank accounts or offering flexible loans, how do they impact outcomes of people in terms of their ability to buy things? Say, for instance, something as simple as a goat loan, which is a very interesting product that came out of a Mandeshi Foundation in Maharashtra, where they would basically give money to women to buy goats, and these became productive assets for women, and they became extremely important life sources for these women. And they impacted a lot of other aspects of women's lives in terms of their financial decision making, their ability to have a conversation in the household, hold their own, basically, give them agency, right? So those are the kinds of conversations that spark my interest. And as things evolved in India, especially with the DPI journey that came about, UPI came in, Aadhaar came in, and we saw a great revolution in terms of making financial services so accessible to people, bringing banking accounts to every household in the country. And how that really transforms the ability of an entire family to be able to sustain themselves, improve their standards of living. And those kind of questions again brought a lot of curiosity in me. So I started working with a fintech, tried to understand more from a supply side, what goes into building products that shape or improve the lives of people. That is sort of the journey which has brought me towards the Finternet as well. Last year at the GFF, I did come across the presentation that Mr. Nandan Nilekani made, and Siddharth had sort of made a few presentations and case studies as well. And it appeared to me that there are so many lessons that we have learned in terms of building for 1 billion people in India, and how that has impacted their lives, that can be translated to such a global scale. I mean, there are 8 billion people, almost 350 million businesses who can benefit from the kinds of interventions or the lessons that we've learned while building these kind of systems. So that drew a lot of curiosity in me, and I approached Siddharth and joined the team as a volunteer. Again, not with any agenda in mind in terms of what is it that I'm going to do, how am I going to contribute, but I said, we'll figure out things on the way. And to be honest, that's how my time here has been as well. It's not that every day I wake up and I know exactly what I want to do or exactly what I have to do. You pick up a problem and you start working on it. A lot of times you build the problem yourself, right? You try and understand how can you contribute better. So for me, for instance, I write reasonably well, or I have an inclination towards understanding, say, deeper research from a socio-economic lens or an inclusion lens. That is something that I spend a lot of time on, trying to understand how do we tie the Finternet narrative in terms of inclusion. How are the use cases that we are building, or the kinds of case studies that we are pursuing? How can we include as many people? How can we make access available to so many people, right? So the first wave of financial inclusion with, say, a lot of these DPIs which came about in India, in Brazil, all of these different countries, brought so many people into a formal financial fold. So it gave them a lot of access. If you look at recent data from the Findex as well, almost 9 out of 10 people in the world now have access to a bank account. But does that mean that finance is meaningful for them? Not really. You may have access, but the agency or the ability to use it is something meaningfully, that too, is something that we still need to unlock. That means unbundling a lot of things that we take for granted in terms of how long it takes to open a bank account, how long does it take to, say, transfer anything of value. For instance, a lot of time people may have a lot of immovable assets like land, or people may have things like cattle, which you cannot easily monetize or change into other forms of value. The Finternet allows you to do that, right? It allows you to transform one set of value to another, transact with each other, and unlocks a lot of opportunities, right? So of course, it's an exciting time for builders, and right now there are a lot of prototypes being built, looking at it from different use cases. But as time progresses, I strongly believe that it becomes a question of also measuring the impact of these kind of systems, right? how is it like, meaningfully making a change in the lives of people? From that lens, I mean, I'd speak probably for people who are coming from like a social science background or coming from an economics or a policy background. There's plenty of work to be done. Like, it's a very techno-legal approach. You have to look at very nuanced ways in which, you solve a problem. It's not just as easy as creating the most elegant technology solutions. You still need regulators on board. You still need governments to be convinced by what you're doing, get people excited about what you're doing, hopefully they see value in what you're doing. So understanding that impact, understanding how can you craft these solutions which become much, much easier for people to use, much more intuitive for them. Just like today, I mean, anybody can pick up like a phone and use an Aadhaar or use a UPI transaction, make a UPI transaction very easily, and doesn't take them a lot of mental bandwidth or prior know-how to be able to do that. How can we make that possible for anything, right? Like, you don't think twice before sending an email out to anybody in another part of the world, or say sending a message to someone, right? Or streaming a video which is in some other country. So why should it be any different when it comes to value? And it's something that you own yourself. It's something that you have control over. So it's just about unlocking those opportunities, and that's what excites me a lot. And I do encourage people from like different diverse backgrounds to also try and understand this. There are no right or wrong questions to be asked here. Everybody is trying to learn, and it's a very collective process that way. So it shouldn't seem as though it's very inaccessible for people from different backgrounds. Surely you can contribute in different ways. The best way is to just explore it and look out for updates that come in from the labs, and hopefully we get to build a lot of things together.